Hey, Happy New Year. We made it another year. Christmas was 50 degrees. Last night was 50 degrees. So I did some walking around in the neighborhood. And the one neighbor said, it's a new year, it's a new me. And she's going to start cleaning the cellar out. And she's been cleaning. Uh, she moved in and they started throwing stuff out that they didn't want. People kept giving them stuff, they throw it out. Uh, but it costs money to get rid of stuff here. And the people here have a little game they play. They try to give you something, and that's because you have to pay to get rid of stuff. So they'll go, "You want this table? Here, take this table." They'll try. I don't want it. I told them straight out. I said, "When I don't want it anymore, it's going to cost me money to get rid of it." And the other thing they do is they put a bicycle like out in the front of the house. They don't want the bicycle because you have to pay to get rid of the bicycle. They put it out in front of the house. It doesn't have any brakes. So some kid will get on it. He'll drive it around the neighborhood and he'll dump it. And then I can throw it out in the garbage in certain dumpsters. They have cameras on the dumpsters, but everybody knows I'm the guy that cleans the neighborhood. So I wheel the bicycle over. I look up at the camera so they could see my face, and then I throw the bike in the dumpster. But lately, I found a guy that takes them into the city, and they fix them up and give them to underprivileged kids. So that's how I've been getting rid of that. But I'm working on this radio a little at a time, or this transmitter, and it's messed up. All the parts are frosted, with oxidized, rusted, whatever you want to call this stuff. This comes from a wet basement. Like I always kid, and I'm not kidding. I'm actually telling you the truth. A lot of this stuff has been sitting in a basement, in a box, in a puddle of water, and then it either gets donated to a club or it gets put on eBay, and I end up with it. So little by little, I've been weaning myself from buying anything on eBay. Even this thing. I'm building this with what I got because the stuff I get from eBay has been subpar. But I learned a new word. First of all, the word bodged comes from Shango66. Watching his videos, I picked up the word bodged. Then there's the word butchered. But then I found a message from someone that said it's hammerized. A ham radio operator who has a license that doesn't know radio or transmitters has gotten his big fingers into it. Now it's hammerized. Okay, and I thought that was pretty funny. Made me chuckle. I've gotten videos thumbs down in the past because I've told people about this, that ham operators, they get the license and then they think they know electronics. And then they bodge stuff up. They really don't think they did anything wrong. You know, it's just this magic smoke came out of it or some stupid thing like that. But it is what it is. But I'm got all these parts. I'm taking them out. They're going to go in a box, and then it's going to be labeled. It's going to be stored in an area where I could see it. And then if I don't use the parts within 2 years or any of the parts or go to the box gets thrown out. Okay. And as you can see in that closet there, there's pieces of aluminum and pieces of plastic. That's how I buy it. I buy it in pieces. And then after I cut a piece off, if there's an extra cut-off piece, that gets in a different bin. I have a complete system for everything because that's the only way I could stay sane. Okay? But I want to tell you, it's been really warm here. And I come in here and I've been turning this into a turkey carcass, little by little, taking the pieces off, deciding what I'm going to save. It gets thrown out. You got to do that. Now, it's been 50 degrees on Christmas. It was 50 degrees on New Year's. So I go out and I walk around and I stop to talk to people. And there was one woman that someone noticed was missing. They didn't know her name. They never talked to her. But they'll say something like, you know that old lady that walks in the neighborhood? I go, yeah, I know her. I talked to her. Oh, you talked to her? Yes. I said, she's missing. So I said, during the summer it got really hot. I said, maybe it was just too hot for her. And then I met her, and that's what it was. She stopped walking because it got too hot. Now that it's cooler, she says, I have to get out and walk. She says, it should be really cold, and you're looking out at ice and snow, and it hasn't. It's been really warm. So that's what I've been doing. I go out and I take a walk, and I stop and I talk to people. Well, one guy the other day, he got mad at me. He goes, you walk around the neighborhood and you learn everybody's business and then you tell everybody else. I said, let me stop you right there. I said, a couple of times I've mentioned you to people. People don't know who you are. And he goes, what? They don't know who you are. I said, I talk to other people and tell them, yeah, the guy down, they don't know who these people are. Um, the one guy that was walking with me, he learned who a lot of people are because I'd stop and talk to him and I'd introduce him. But the general consensus around here is you walk around, you smile and you wave to people, but you basically don't really talk and stand there and know who they are. And that's the way it is. But it was so funny how upset he got. You know, I'm passing the information of his around. No one wants to, you're boring. All you talk about is Jesus. Nobody cares about you. I talk to you just because I'm a nice guy, you know. But that's it's amazing how some people are. They really think you're into their. I stand there, and when someone has a problem, I listen to their problem, and that's what I do. Okay, because I know what it's like when you can't talk to anybody and bounce ideas off other people. So when someone starts bouncing ideas off of me, I stand there and I'll be courteous and talk to them. Where the people in there, that's not how they operate here. They talk to each other just to get the gossip, and that's not what I'm doing. But anyway, it was so funny. But it's because of the warm weather. Everybody's getting a little crazy, you know, the COVID and all that nonsense. We won't go there because I had a guy telling me all anti-vax stuff that's from the internet. And his stuff is real, but the CDC isn't real. I was like, you know, I'm standing there and I'm going, no, I got my shots. I don't want it. And he got it and his wife got it, okay, because they didn't have their shots. I said, the reason you get the shot is so you don't tie up the hospital for people that have car accidents and heart attacks and other accidents, okay? It's being selfish. And he's like, well, I don't want the government to tell me. Fine. I hope someone in your family doesn't get in a car accident or have a heart attack. And when they go to the hospital, they can't take care of them because they're overwhelmed. And you got to think about the bigger picture, okay? And this person is real religious, blah, blah, blah. He cares about everybody, but he really doesn't, okay? That's the truth. But anyway, I get back to the different radios and the transmitters, and I figured out what the guy did to this. The guy that hammerized it, okay? What he did was he used this for a VFO. And he understood he needed certain parts of the circuit to be on to be a VFO. Well, instead of just taking the two power output tubes out, all right, and just using the voltage from ground to the plate of the VFO oscillator, he cut wires all over the place to make sure the component wasn't in the circuit. So as I'm scrapping this thing, I'm finding parts that are all cut out. And I was like, that's what he was doing, you know? He just didn't understand that you could take the tubes out or not power that section because the way this works is that it powers the oscillator with a relay and it powers the screen voltages of the output tubes. So all you have to do is pull the output tubes out. And nothing's, but anyway, that's when you understand circuits. When you have a ham license, okay, you make believe you understand circuits. And I always like sticking it to hams because I read the conferences, I listen to them on the air, and some of the stupid stuff that they say. Like one night guy goes, I don't understand how an antenna can have a bunch of elements on it and they're all wired in parallel, but they tell me only some of them are on. I'm like, man, go read up on it. Go read up on resonance. I was like speechless. And of course the guy's on AM phone, so that means he has the top license. Okay? Yeah, those type of people exist in everything. Right, you can tell me that, but it still annoys me. Okay? And then I noticed if I say anything bad about the hams, they would start on the video that I said something bad about them and go all the way down giving me negative remarks on all my videos. They used to allow people to do that. Now there's no dislike button. That's because people were doing that. I don't like this guy. I'm jealous of his videos. So I'll go and give him bad marks on every one of his videos. They figured that out, so now you can't give a negative, you know. But it's funny stuff. The world is, it still amazes me. I understand it more. But the fact that I had to always repair what other people touched or bodged or hammerized or butchered, that's my whole life was that. The person would give it to me just before they were going to throw it in the garbage. Now, if I didn't fix something, they put it away and then make believe they didn't ask me if I could fix it. And they wait like 2 years, and I have this thing. And I go, you told me about that 2 years ago. No, I didn't. Yeah, you did. You did. I have a really good memory. And I say, throw it out. Like I told you on one video, when a color television has a bad picture tube, that would be most of the set, the price of the set. So after 7 years, you would not replace a picture tube on a color set. All right, it just wasn't cost effective, and the people would put that set away and play make believe that they didn't know when they put it away that the picture tube was bad. So I'd go over there, turn it on, and I'd say the picture tube's bad. You throw it out. So that's what I learned about people. Okay, they play all these make believe games with you, hoping you got a magic thing. When you fix a lot of different things for people, you fabricate parts. They think you can fix everything, and if you don't fix it, they think you're you don't want to fix it for them. Okay, you're not going to win. I learned this later on in life. People are more difficult than you can ever imagine, and if you're helping people that never give you anything in return, that's your fault. That's why I take full responsibility for that in my lifetime. All the people I was helping, and then when I had to leave my neighborhood, only one person stepped up and helped me. Okay, a lot of other people were promising stuff, and they didn't come through for me. Even the most minuscule thing, they didn't come through for me. Okay, I learned my lesson. So when I talk to people here, and they start asking for certain, I said, no, I went through this in another neighborhood. You always want something? Yeah, I sort of do. Because a lot of people don't even say thank you anymore. So you do something for them, and it's just like, well, I suckered him into doing it, and yeah, you don't really get thank yous. And there are people that like bake cookies and bring them to me to thank me for cleaning the neighborhood. And I said the bicycles. I found a way to get rid of the bicycles. Like last night was New Year's Eve. There would be fireworks all in the street. Nobody will pick them up but me. The large launching tubes, they'll sit there for 2 weeks. The kids will move them around. I go around the neighborhood and I pick them up, and they're heavy. Launching tubes are quite heavy. Some have I won't say a leaded base, but they don't do well in a garbage bag. But I do my thing, and I just want to tell you, if you have a lot of crap in your house, it's going to end up in the landfill eventually. It's a new year. Maybe you should start trying to throw stuff out that you're not going to use, and don't worry if you throw something out and then you suddenly want it a few months later. I shouldn't have thrown that. That's a trick your brain plays on you. Those hoarder people on TV, that's the trick they got. The brain keeps telling them, don't throw that out. Don't. Their existence, their life existence is based on the crap they collect. Every piece of crap is a piece of them. So if you try to throw any piece of crap out, they get all upset because it's basically their shit, okay? And it's them. It's actually those pieces represent a piece of them and a piece of life. So if you try to get them to throw the stuff out, they have a major meltdown. I sort of bump into that program now to have all these extra channels. But life is really wacky, okay? And like I said, if you buy on eBay, you're going to buy wacky stuff. And it took me a while to figure out what the hell that guy did to this poor thing. I'm finding on this final output, this is a final output coil, okay? There's a wire that should be going from here, maybe to here, or here up to, it's missing. Yeah, from here, from here to here, there's a wire missing. See, what you do is, if you're not using the output stage, you just start cutting stuff out. And that's a really thick wire that goes from the bottom. And it's only thick for probably skin effect. Read up on skin effect. But anyway, it's amazing what I get. And I've been staying away from eBay. I want to show you. This is a capacitor. See that? You see these two little prongs? These things, the distance between them and the size, that's a capacitor. At the frequency this thing transmits at, there's a lot of energy that goes across that gap as capacitance. Isn't that amazing? Okay. I don't understand why there's so many elements on an antenna, and they tell me just some of them are on some of the time. That reminds me of my grandmother. I always tell you, we're sitting there. I was working aerospace at the time, and I'm sitting there. We're eating dinner. She can't relate to me at all. Okay, she could say some. She knew I bicycle rode. She could say, "What was the furthest you ever rode?" No, what my grandma would say to me, you know, you can make a crystal radio out of a Quaker Oats box. You know, but yeah, it's amazing. But yeah, this guy turned this into a VFO. I might have said BFO, but it was he used this as a VFO, and he just started cutting wires to make sure nothing was on in it that shouldn't be on. Amazing, absolutely amazing. And that's probably because the article never said just take the two output tubes out and don't put the it would be the screen voltage on. You know, the plate voltage on the tubes, they're not in the circuit. You unplug them. So that, I don't know. You know, like I said, I went to school for electronics, and after I graduated, I kept reading books and building circuits. So I have a whole different perspective than a lot of people. You know, my one neighbor here was kidding me about, yeah, you're over there in the house working with these little squirrely projects, you know. But when he needed his Frosty the Snowman repaired, I was the guy that got it. I think that's it. All right, that's it.